Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we are going to be talking about my philodendron collection. This is my updated philodendron collection video. The last time I did one of these, I had bangs, I lived in Tucson, and it was a long time ago, so it's time to update. Also, this video is sponsored by Audible, more about them a little bit later. Okay, so I usually with my collection videos, I'll start with my first of that genus and then go to the most recent one. But honestly, I don't remember which of these I've had the longest. I mean, I do, but in order to put them in order, it would take a lot of brain power. So I'm just gonna show them to you as they feel right, and we will get through all of them because there are a lot, so stick with me. Okay, we're gonna start off with one that doesn't look great. I don't know if I should start with this one or end with this one. Like, if somebody clicks on this video and sees that this is the first plant I'm showing, it would probably look pretty bleak. But this is my Philodendron micans, or the Philodendron heteroecium something, but we know it mostly as the micans. It is the dark burgundy, soft, velvety Philodendron, and mine just doesn't look good. I do have another one that I will show you. I'm just gonna pull it out right now because I've got two of these. I don't have a lot of repeat plants in my collection, but I really, really love the micans, and this is just not good. But I've had this plant for a super long time, and it's never really put out big leaves by any means. It's just gotten longer, so it is pretty long. It looks nice on my green wall here because you can't see it up that close, but let me just show you a little close-up. She's really going through it right now, and I just watered it, so I don't know, maybe I need to check on the roots to see what's going on inside, but she's just not too happy. But let's not focus on her. Let's focus on this one. Okay, so it's clearly a newer plant. I got this when I was visiting Nashville, and it's very beautiful, super full pot. I think I paid like $25 or $30 for it. I was pretty happy with the price, and these leaves are so gorgeous and like nice dark green, like that deep velvet as well. They're just so lovely. And I'm really happy with this plant. Next up, let's talk about my Philodendron Florida. So this is a plant that I told myself that I was probably going to give away and I wasn't going to keep, because I actually bought it off of an auction on Facebook Marketplace. Well, it wasn't an auction, it was like a purge / auction. It was a seller who exclusively sold through Facebook, and they also had an Etsy, something like that. This is a plant that I bought pretty much on impulse because I thought that it was a different plant. I thought that this was going to be the Florida Beauty. And so I saw 30 bucks and I was like, you're kidding me. That can't be real. So I bought it. And it's Facebook, and like buying off of purges and things like that is really misleading, or not misleading. It's like, it's really difficult because everything happens so fast. So you have to make a decision before you've really had time to think it through. And that's what happened here. So anyway, this is my little lesson, and it hasn't really grown a ton because there was a point where I kept knocking off the growth point, and I don't know how. Something has happened to me and I'm suddenly now very clumsy with my plants, and I keep knocking off growth points, and I've never been like this before, but suddenly I have become that person, and I don't like that. So I was very careful with her for a while, and she finally was able to put out this beautiful leaf. You can see it is definitely on its way to becoming a more mature Philodendron Florida. It isn't there quite yet, but I think eventually it will. But when I knocked off the growth point, it put out this little juvenile leaf, which was super funny. And before that, it had this little guy. Anyway, I just think it's actually very interesting to see this plant grow up, because it just wasn't a plant that struck me as super interesting, but it's grown on me. I feel like watching it mature is making me like it more, and just like seeing it grow and change is making me like more intrigued by it. So anyway, okay, the next philodendron in my collection is this Philodendron glorious, and I am obsessed with this plant. It is so beautiful. This is a cross between the Gloriosum and the Melanochrysum, which is both individually very beautiful plants. I have never had good luck with the Melanochrysum. So anyway, this is a Philodendron glorious. I got this from JP Botanicals. It was gifted, and I did an unboxing, and it is absolutely beautiful. Okay, I thought I felt a root. It's not a root, it's just a piece of cocoa or something. But anyway, when I got it, it had just these 2 leaves plus one other. I think it had 3 leaves on it, and it wasn't looking amazing because I think that I wasn't giving it really what it needed. It was living in my greenhouse cabinet, but I feel like a plant that young and a plant that definitely does need humidity needed more than the 50 to 60 degrees that my cabinet was hitting at that time. For this specific plant, because it was so small, I just put it in a plastic bag and let it sit in there for a while. It was actually sitting in a 2-gallon Ziploc bag with 2 other plants, and it was so humid in there that I did not water this plant for probably 2 months or more, and I could have gone even longer, but it was starting to put out some pretty cute growth, and I saw some aerial roots that I really wanted to see if they would like attach to a plank of wood. So you will see some of my philodendron are on planks of wood. So this is just a piece of cedar wood, and I have it fashioned with plant stakes right here, and it's just stapled to the wood, and then the plant stake is actually what goes into the pot, so no part of the wood is actually under the soil line and getting wet. I did that just to prevent the wood from rotting, but because this is cedar, it would take a long time for it to rot anyway, and I do believe, oh no, this isn't treated cedar, but anyway, if it's treated, it would last even longer, but this is just regular cedar, and cedar is known for its rot resistance, so that's why I went with cedar for these. It was also just like offcuts from my ladder and my green wall that I made. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below. If you're just now seeing me for the first time, I don't know, hi. Anyway, so that's what it's sitting on right now. And there's actually a new like leaf structure situation coming out. And if you can see, I did tape it to the plank to see if just pushing it closer to the plank of wood would make it adhere. We will see if that happens. I don't see anything like happening quite yet, but I'm gonna keep a close eye on it, and I feel like a mad scientist, you know, just seeing like manipulating the plants to see what they'll do. It's really fun. So I'm super excited to see this one get bigger because the Gloriosum and the Melanochrysum are both very beautiful plants, and crossed, I think it's even better. So yeah, super exciting. As I mentioned earlier, this video is sponsored by Audible, so let's hear a little bit from them. Audible offers an incredible selection of audiobooks across every genre, including new releases, celebrity memoirs, bestsellers, thrillers, motivation, wellness, business, romance, and you'll discover exclusive Audible originals from top celebrities, renowned experts, and exciting new voices in audio. And of course, there are also thousands of familiar and new podcasts. So how it works is you get 1 credit a month that you can use on any title across the Audible catalog, plus you get access to included audiobooks, podcasts, and Audible originals. I've been really loving using Audible lately because I have been watching like authors. I've been following authors on social media, so I know when their newest books are coming out, and they're not always available in other places like my library yet, so it's really awesome to be able to read those books right away just by getting them off of Audible. I've read both of the Crescent City books by Sarah J. Maas. I just finished the second one, the House of something. I just finished the second one, and I'm so excited for the next one. Who knows when it'll be coming out, but I'm still so excited. And then another book that I just finished was Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. And both of these books just came out, and I feel so cool that I've already read them thanks to Audible. So if you have any books that you're wanting to read right now, definitely go check out Audible because they have an amazing library. You can try out Audible by visiting audible.com/DayLaPlants or texting DayLaPlants to 500-500 for a 30-day free trial. All right, let's get back into the video. Okay, switching gears a bit. This is a Philodendron cordatum lemon lime. So basically the heartleaf philodendron, except it's lemon lime. So it has this like really beautiful neon green coloring as well as a little bit of a darker green coloring. And this is a plant that I got from a local nursery. It was like 25 bucks. And it's so cute and big, and I love that it's so full. I love finding hanging baskets like this that are just like really full and look so beautiful in a macrame hanger. I made this macrame hanger with my co-hosts on Potted Together. We did film it, and we're having some technical difficulties, so hopefully that video will be out at some point, and I'll link it down in the description box below if you want to learn how to make this macrame hanger. It's super fun and easy, and it was designed by Adam. Anyway, This plant is very, very simple and easy to care for. It's basically a pothos, but just like a little bit different. It's a pothos in a different font. So I love it a lot, and it just sits in this corner right here, which is a pretty low light situation in my home. There are some skylights. Like, it's not like mega bright where it's getting like sun rays on it. So definitely a little bit of a lower light situation, and it seems to be doing really well. Just the coloring is so beautiful. I love that it has like the light green and the dark green. That's what drew me to it. I love the contrast. Okay, the next plant in my philodendron collection. By the way, I'm having so much fun. I was kind of dreading filming this video because there's so many plants, but I'm having a lot of fun, so I hope that you're enjoying. But anyway, so this is my Philodendron Mamei, and you can see the progression of the leaves: oldest, middle, youngest. These leaves are getting kind of bleached out a little bit sooner than I would want. I feel like it's ready to be removed from the greenhouse cabinet. This is a plant that I completely brought back from the dead. It was a very, very beautiful, huge Philodendron Mamei that I got from Indonesia in an import. And it was actually one of those plants that I was like, oh, I'll just toss it in because I need to fill up the box. I wasn't even really thinking that it would be that remarkable. And then I opened it, and it was my favorite plant in the entire thing. It is so beautiful. And especially at the time, the leaves were like bigger than my head, and now they're getting there slowly again. But basically what happened is it got root rot because of dry rot. So I didn't water it often enough. I let it get too dry between waterings, which is a common thing for me because I tend to be an underwaterer. So if my plants are getting root rot, it's probably because of dry rot, unfortunately. But I ended up wet stick propagating it. That original growth point ended up putting out a new leaf, and then I was able to pot it up when it had a good root system. I potted it in cocoa peat just to get the root system going, and then I eventually moved it to soil, and it has put out 3 extra leaves. And so yeah, I am wondering why the leaves are getting bleached out so fast as compared to staying this like nice dark green. I also did find spider mites on it yesterday, and I'm treating it right now for spider mites just using some rubbing alcohol, dish soap, and a little scrubber, like a gentle scrubber. So I'm gonna do that a few times. Hopefully nothing else in the cabinet has spider mites, although I am checking because I'm sure that something else has it now. And I'm thinking maybe that's why this situation is happening so quickly. But now that I'm treating it, it should be doing better, and I'm going to take it out of the greenhouse cabinet because I don't find it to be a plant that needs like a ton of humidity. It's definitely happy on the lower humidity side because in my old apartment, it would get to like 40% humidity max. I mean, honestly, it was not very humid, and it was very, very happy as far as putting out new leaves before the root rot situation. The next boy is my Philodendron squamiferum. And hopefully I said that right. That felt weird coming out of my mouth. But anyway, so this is a little plant that I got from Adam, not Dude, my co-host and friend. This is the newest leaf that it put out. I'll bring it up close so that you can see. It's very pretty. Like lots of fun like details. Like look at the petioles. Like it's the fuzzy petioles for me with this one. It's so cool. And it is putting out a new leaf here. So anyway, I got this as a little cutting from Adam when I was living in Tucson, and it really hasn't grown a ton, but I wasn't giving it that much attention. I really wasn't watering it often enough, and I wasn't giving it enough light. So hopefully, well, I'm already seeing the result of giving it more love. It's definitely one of those plants that just kind of like stuck around and was like, I'm gonna hold on because I think maybe eventually she'll realize I'm here. And I did. So I have been making sure to give it more regular waterings and fertilizing it now that it's time to fertilize again. And we're already seeing the fruits of that decision, which is really exciting. It is putting out a beautiful new leaf, and I'm really excited to see this plant grow because this one is a climber, and I will be putting it on a pole probably after this leaf comes out. We'll have to see, but I'm thinking I'm gonna do it pretty soon just to start it young and then transfer it over to the bench over here. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. It's really cute. Okay, this is a plant that I swore I would never buy again. This is a Philodendron branchiatum, and it is so beautiful. This is one of those plants that I think is just outrageously gorgeous, and I just genuinely cannot like believe that this plant exists. Let me show you up close. Oh my gosh, look at the beautiful silvery heart-shaped leaves. It's so pretty. Oh, I love it so much. Okay, so I got this from Rolling Ridge in St. Louis a couple weeks ago, and it is actually doing quite well. I've had to water it. Well, I guess I've had it for maybe like a month or two now, so I've watered it a couple times. This is one of those plants that will definitely like sag when it's thirsty, but that's really good for me because I like vocal plants. So anyway, it's just really lovely. It's very, very full. I mean, you can hardly even see the soil in here. Let me see if I can open it up. I mean, it's just super full, lots of pieces in there. I believe that it's a lot of cuttings just like put together, but it does have a nice root system. Usually with vining plants like this, they are commonly just a bunch of cuttings shoved into a pot, and which can be a little bit frustrating sometimes, but in this case the root system was pretty developed, so I wasn't annoyed, thankfully. But sometimes it's just like these are plugs that are barely growing. But anyway, it's really, really lovely, and I'm super happy that I decided to get it. I've had one of these before, and that's why I said I would never get one again. And it was very, very fickle and just not a great plant for me in general. Like, it was very picky and just, I didn't like it. It just did not grow well for me. I think I got it from Steve's Leaves. And yeah, I was much younger in my plant experience, and I feel like if a plant dies on you, you should try it at least one more time, because I feel like sometimes that individual plant was just moody and the next one you try maybe won't be. I don't know. So I usually say 2 to 3 times I'll try and then I'll move on. So second time's the charm so far. We will see how long it lasts. I hope for a long time because there's a lot of growth here, lots of new leaves. It's very healthy, and I'm just, yeah, I'm hopeful for this one. Okay, we're gonna talk about my most unique houseplant. So here it is. This is a Philodendron crassynervium. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. I've never seen anybody have this houseplant before. This was actually gifted to me by the owner of a local nursery that I collab with quite a bit and just to go visit them a lot. So he gave me this cutting, and like literally on the way home, I knocked the growth point off, and I'm so annoyed, but it looks like there's something happening right here. You see that? Separating? I think that's something. So anyway, it has these really beautiful lance-shaped leaves, and I think in nature it grows sideways, although I don't really know. I need to look it up to see what it looks like in nature, but it has, as you can see, like very waxy, very long leaves. It's just so cool. It's probably the most unique houseplant that I have ever seen as far as like its growth pattern. It has these like dark red spots or dark brown spots on it, and you'd almost think that it's scale, but it's not. It's like actually a detail on the plant. I don't know what it is, but it's really cool, and it's actually putting out quite a bit of sap, which I checked for pests and it's not that, but philodendron will sometimes just like have sap, like sticky sap. But I noticed that today when I was like cleaning it off for this video. But it's just really cool, and I feel super lucky to have it. It just feels like a very unique plant. And I can't wait to see what happens here, because if I didn't knock off the growth point, it probably would have already put out a new leaf. So I'm kind of annoyed with myself. Well, not kind of. I'm very annoyed with myself about that, but live and learn, be careful. Okay, the next philodendron is my Philodendron atabapoense. This is a really, really beautiful plant. I talk about it on my channel quite a bit. Maybe not lately because I realized I was talking about it a lot. So it's very gorgeous. It has these super cute, like grayish, sagey green leaves. And then on the back, they're a really lovely dark red color, which I love when a plant has dimension like that, like when it looks different on the front and the back. It just, to me, that is the coolest thing. And I don't like, oh my gosh, I just am overwhelmed by how cool that is. I don't know why they do it. I know that with Calathea, they fold up and like their leaves on the back are dark because they don't want to be detected or something like that. But like for something like this, like why? Like why though? Why are we dark on the back? I don't know. But anyway, super, super gorgeous plant. I've had this for almost 2 years, if not a full 2 years. And I actually imported this plant because I was doing an import with Adam and he wanted this plant. So obviously I gave him the plant, and then he was like, hey, do you want a cutting? And I said, Yes, I would like a cutting. So these two leaves are new. They've actually very recently come out within like the last, let's say 6 months. Like I don't remember when this one came out, but it was not that far off. Like it was pretty recently. And then this one still hasn't hardened off. So it's still growing, I think, a little bit. And I'm just so excited to see these leaves get bigger and bigger. Like, oh, I'm so stoked. So anyway, this one also sits up here on the shelf. So it's not getting a ton of light, but I think that if I put it somewhere else, like with more light, it would probably grow more. But I think with one more leaf, I will be putting it on a plank of wood so that it can start growing, or like a pole of some sort, because I think that it will be really beautiful as a climber. Speaking of climber, also I'm fighting with the sun. The sun is coming in and it's reflecting off my table. Sorry about that. Okay, this is my Philodendron, no, not Philodendron Salem. This is my Philodendron Splendid, the Melanochrysum verrucosum cross. And this is a plant that I did not know had a little name to it, so I was always calling it a Philodendron Melanochrysum verrucosum cross, which is a mouthful. So the Splendid is what it's called. So if you're interested in getting one of these, they're very lovely. They grow very well. As you can see, here's the bottom, and then it goes all the way to the top here. And I have it on like a freakishly long board. It's not gonna be on this board forever, but I just needed something super long to like stretch it out, because for a while it was growing like an S. Like it just was like scooping back down, and it was not good. So I needed to straighten it out. So I have a little like bamboo pole right here just to straighten it out a little bit, and I could probably do a bit more straightening now. But anyway, the point is I'm going to be chopping and propping this and just like filling up a pot of all of this, because a lot of these lower leaves are getting yellow and old because they've worked on all of this growth. And also I want it to start climbing so that it can put out bigger leaves, because it's beautiful and it's undeniably a beautiful plant, but I really want to see these leaves get bigger because it's really reading Melanochrysum. It's giving Melanochrysum vibes with these tiny leaves. And you can see that it definitely does look different than a Melanochrysum, because it has like a little bit more of a glow on the veins, and it's a little bit more veiny than a Melanochrysum, a bit lighter than a Melanochrysum as well. The verrucosum has really striking veining on it. And so anyway, that's what I tell myself when it starts looking too much like a Melanochrysum, because I don't really like Melanochrysum too much. I think I've already said that, but anyway. Let me pull this closer so that you can see what these leaves look like. Oh my gosh, she's a dream. So beautiful. I love it. This leaf is very beautiful, very dark. This one is very Melanochrysum. This one's a little bit more verrucosum. It's interesting to see like the parentage of the plant like pull through depending on what leaf is what leaf you're looking at. I find especially with this one, like it just depends which leaf you're looking at, what it looks more like. But anyway, that's this one. We will be chopping and propping. We will be doing some wet stick propagation, and I'm really excited about it. And I have to be very careful when I move it, because I don't want it to fall over and just completely break. Because this piece of wood is just like way too big for it. Okay, we're nearing the end. And when I say that, I think that means that there's like 5 left. So, okay. This is a Philodendron Burle Marx Fantasy, which is so beautiful and just, oh my gosh, I feel very cool that I have this plant, but it's not doing a lot for me. Like it's not super thrilled. The growth that I put out most recently was a really long runner, and I actually ended up chopping it off. As you can see here, the top is chopped off. And I did that because I don't like runners, and it was a great opportunity to make some wet stick propagation happen. And I've had it on this little moss pole for so long, and just nothing has happened. It has not attached to the moss pole in any way. I just don't like moss poles. I even wet the moss pole, and then when I attach it, nothing. I don't know at what point my memory card stopped recording. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to show you what these leaves look like up close, like up here. They are very beautiful. So I'm pretty stoked that I have this. Like I said, I feel like it makes me feel very cool, but she needs a makeover. She definitely needs something, and I'm not sure what that something is, but she needs something. If you have any ideas for what to do with this plant, it's been chopped in 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. She just keeps putting out runners, and I don't know. I have it in my greenhouse cabinet. It's getting a lot of good stuff, but it's just still I don't know, not doing too great. I'd love to have more leaves that look like this one, like this big old leaf right here. All right, next philodendron is my Philodendron silver sword, and it's sitting in a plant bag that I made. I made a tutorial on how to make these plant bags. If you wanna check it out, I'll link it. Anyway, so here is this. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love this plant so much. Now that I'm getting a closer look at it, let me check it for pests. Oh, we're looking good, no pests. Let's say I was influenced to buy this plant from Fern, one of my favorite plant tubers, and I think we have a lot of mutuals, so hello if you also follow Fern. Fern has a Philodendron silver sword that I just absolutely love, and I was like, I want mine to look like that someday. Like, I want one of those really bad. And I was never super attracted to it until I started seeing hers. So sometimes, like, there's a plant out there that I'm like, and I'm like, I could go or I could not, until I see someone's whose looks like really, really good, and then I'm like very tempted. Anyway, let's just say I saw this at a local nursery and I said, okay, I'll try it. I have it currently growing on a plank of wood. As I said, some of my philodendron are on planks of wood. Again, it's a piece of cedar, and I think that it'll live on this piece for quite a while because the roots are only about like right here. So we've got a little bit of space up here. I don't really know what the plan is when they start to outgrow their pole. I really don't know. Maybe I need to get a longer pole on it so that I don't have to change it out. Like, I could just chop and prop when it exceeds its plank of wood. I don't exactly know. I'm very new to plants on planks. I'm just learning to see what my process will look like in the end. But anyway, it is putting out some new leaves. As you can see, there are some that look a little bit more glossy than others. So those ones are new. This one's new. This one's new. This one's new. The new growth doesn't look incredible, I'm gonna be honest. And I think it's because the humidity's been pretty low. It's currently 35% humidity in my plant room, which is so low. But in the summertime, spring, fall, the outside temperatures will be much more warm and also way more humid. So that helps to get super humid in this room. And honestly, I have a humidifier that I run in here, but it really doesn't make much of a difference. Maybe in like the exact area that is surrounding the humidifier, it experiences more humidity. But as far as the room getting all of that humidity, it doesn't really happen. So I don't know if it's even worth it to run it. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth, but anyway, humidity has been pretty low, so I hope that with higher humidity it'll put out more growth and also like better looking growth that doesn't like rip itself as it's coming out, because that's what happened here. This leaf sort of ripped because it wasn't very humid as it was coming out. And also, if you're noticing that on your plants, philodendron are notorious for doing like the Cinderella foot thing. Just missed that part of the plant to help just like lubricate the incoming leaf. I've noticed that helps, especially with plants that do that, like philodendron or anthurium even do that. So I'll just mist the new leaf coming out, and that helps it come out smoother so that it doesn't rip itself, because that is unfortunately very common in philodendron. And like, we want to help it, but oftentimes when we help it, we're actually just hurting it. So the best way that I've found to help it, just mist it and walk away. All right, the next philodendron in my selection is the Philodendron Reform. I'm gonna have that on the screen because I don't think I said that right. Anyway, this is what it looks like. It is not that exciting as of right now, but when the plant gets older, it looks pretty cool. I got this from Vintage Hill, the owner of Vintage Hill. So I'm pretty excited to see what this does. It does have a growth spike at the bottom, and it actually started out as a long plant, and like this piece was like the top cutting, and I ended up propagating it because I wanted to see it grow like more full. I definitely am a big fan of like chopping and propping my plants to keep the bottom very full so that the plant in general has like a very rounded shape rather than being like super tall and skinny. I really like the full look of a plant. So anyway, I might be doing that again. We'll see. Maybe I could even chop this right here. I don't know. We'll see what I think as it grows. But this newest leaf that it put out is not very impressive. Like, I don't think that it's very happy with the humidity situation. Again, with the silver sword, I feel like the humidity is just like not great for my philodendron. So if you like philodendron, I would say that if you're getting into stuff like this, like upright philodendron, I'd say they tend to like higher humidity, like 50 is too low. Maybe like 60, 70% would be like the most ideal. but they'll survive in lower, but they're not gonna be like thriving, you know? I mean, that's the case with most houseplants, I would say. But anyway, so that's this one, and it's very cute, and I'm excited to see what it looks like in the future. Okay, I almost didn't show this one because it almost like doesn't feel worth it because it's not that cool. But this is one of those plants that I've had literally from day one, basically. So I got this, I think that it's a Rio, but then I see leaves like this, and I think silver stripe. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's very cute, and it really hasn't changed at all since I had it like day one. This is one of those plants that I had in my apartment that I shared with my roommate. I just did a reaction to my first houseplant tour. This is one of the plants that was in that tour. And it's just, I don't know. I hope that I have this plant forever just because it's a cute reminder of that time in my life. And it's not exactly like the most like beautiful, full growing, whatever plant, but I just have a lot of memories attached to this plant, and I think it's really cute. And look at this cute leaf at the top. Okay, the last plant, are you ready? Is my Philodendron Biliatia, also from Adam Not Dude. I'm realizing that a lot of my Philodendron came from him, and I feel like I normally think of him as a Hoya person, but he also is a Philodendron person because this, straight out of the Not Dude jungle. So very, very beautiful Biliatia. I feel like they're becoming more accessible to find in person. At the point when he first got his, I didn't even know what this plant was. So this was a plant that we imported from Indonesia together, and I just gave it to him, and he grew it into this like insane plant. I'll have to get a photo and put it on the screen. It is so beautiful. It is like blows my mind beautiful. And as you can see, it is finally putting out a new leaf. It's a mid cutting, so I'm not expecting it to put out a really big leaf. Like if it was a top cutting, it'd probably put out a leaf similar in size to this. But because it's a mid cutting, I think that it'll be quite small, but that's okay because if Adam's plant is any hint on how they grow, it will get big very fast, and I'm super excited. I think this would look really beautiful on my green wall eventually, but it's currently living in my greenhouse cabinet just to get the humidity like super high so that it puts out something pretty quickly. And it's sitting in one of my clear orchid pots, and I've been bottom watering it, and since I started bottom watering it, it has been so much happier. It finally put out a new leaf after I started doing that. So if you are going to use a pot like this, make sure that you're bottom watering it. I'm not a huge fan of bottom watering, to be honest, but it is better if you have something like this with like a ton of holes, because what was happening is the water was leaving the pot before it even had time to saturate the soil. So just a little hot tip if you are in a situation where you're using these. But you can see maybe, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's roots. Oh yeah, look right here. There's roots growing, and it's gonna outgrow this pot pretty soon, and I'm really excited to get it in a really pretty pot. So yeah, definitely a favorite of my plant collection. Hi, okay, so it's me in the future, kind of, and I realized that after I finished filming that video, I forgot 2 philodendron. One of them being my Philodendron Gloriosum. I totally forgot to mention this one, and it was just so annoying because it was sitting right here the whole time. Anyway, it's all in the same video. So here she is. She's very, very small. I've honestly never seen someone have a Philodendron Gloriosum as small as mine. So I feel like, well, the plants are very young anyway. It's like a very juvenile version of the plant. But I'm really, really hoping this summer to get it bigger. I want the leaves that come out like this summer to be huge. I don't know if I'm going to be realistically doing that. Like, well, I'm not going to do it. She's going to try to do it, but I don't know if that's super realistic, but I would really like to get bigger leaves because all the leaves that have come out have been exactly the same size. And we do have 2 new leaves coming in here, which is exciting, but they look like they're gonna be the same size. So here she is. Very, very beautiful. I love the Gloriosum. I especially love other people's because they're a lot bigger than mine. But I don't know, if you have any tips for getting it to have bigger leaves faster, let me know. It is a creeping plant, so it's not as if I could put it on a moss pole. So I don't really know what to do for it. So if you have any tips, let me know. But yeah, this is a really beautiful part of my collection. I really, really love this plant. It's 2 separate plants, by the way. One of them is from Ashley Planting the World Red, and the other one is from Tennessee Tropicals. And I potted them together just because it was so small in this little shallow pot I got from the Target dollar section. And then the last plant I'm showing you today is the one I think that made me the most starstruck out of every plant in this collection, because this is one that sits up on my like fake balcony in my plant room, and I forget that I have it until watering day most of the time. So it's a very, very full and beautiful Philodendron Brazil. And as you can see, I'm gonna bring this up close. I don't know if the lighting will allow like super crisp video, but look at all of those leaves. Like, they are so gorgeous. I'm absolutely obsessed. And like, this plant is like bigger than, it's like 3 times the size of my head. It's just really cool. But all the new growth is like skinny mini baby leaves, which isn't that fun. I wish they were all like huge leaves like this. It does get quite a lot of sun. It gets like pretty much directly underneath a skylight, so I feel like that's quite a lot of sun. I don't really know. Well, it's probably just looking for something to climb, and there's nothing to climb, so it's like, all right, back to small leaves. I don't know. But anyway, I just love this plant. I think it's so beautiful. It is definitely one of my favorite philodendrons. Like, just the colors on these are so pretty. Like, I love these so much. So if you don't have one, definitely get one. Like I said earlier, it's a glorified pothos. I honestly prefer heartleaf philodendron type of plants over pothos because I think that they're just as easy and a lot more beautiful. But like Marble Queen Pothos, absolutely gorgeous. Love her work. All right, my friends, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed seeing my philodendron collection in its entirety. Thank you so much to Audible for sponsoring this video. You can check them out in the link down below. Definitely check them out. I love listening to books as I'm doing my plant chores and just like knitting at night. I love it. It's the best. So definitely go check them out. And tell me about your philodendron collection. What's your favorite philodendron in your collection? I want to hear about it. If you have a plant that I don't have, definitely tell me about it. Unless it's a pink princess. I don't really care about pink princess. I'm just kidding. Tell me about your pink princess if you have one, okay? Because I've never been successful with them. They've never done well for me. I mean, they'll start putting out like burgundy leaves only, no pink, you know, it's not very fun. So if I could get one to grow really cute, like neon pink leaves, I would definitely keep it, but not worth it for me otherwise. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.